Okay, so this is the Windows Git installation video. If you're not on a Windows machine, I guess you're welcome to join us if you want, but I would just move on and go to the next video. Installing Git on a Windows machine it's not complicated, but it's a little bit trickier than to do it on a Mac. And the reason for this is that Git was designed, it was created. If you watch that video where I did, the brief history of Git, it was created to run on a Unix-based interface. It was designed for Linux because the guy who created it, Linus Torvald, also created Linux. Okay, the problem that we run into on a Windows machine is that Windows machines don't come with a Unix-based prompt by default. Windows comes with a different command line interface called command prompt. It's not Unix-based. If you don't know what Unix is, it's not a big deal. You don't need to know what it is. It just causes an issue here. Git wants to run with a Unix-based interface. And there's this shell, this thing called bash, that is a default shell for Linux machines and for Macs, so it's a lot easier on those machines. We don't have to go jump through any hoops. On a Windows machine, we have to download something called Git Bash, which we're about to do, and Git Bash is going to emulate a bash, a Unix experience on our Windows machine, and it comes with Git also. So some people actually use Git Bash without even touching the Git portion. They just want the bash portion. Anyway, you'll see, it's not too bad. It's a single package we download, and then it's just a couple of menus and settings that we have to walk through. So that's all we're going to do here. If none of that explanation made sense to you, don't worry. We'll just install it and it should work. But if you're curious, this is kind of the issue at the core of why it's a little trickier on Windows. Git was not designed to run on a Windows machine originally. So there's just an extra hurdle or two. Okay, let's go. All right, so the first thing we need to do is go to the Git homepage, the Git website, and download the Git installer for Windows. So I've included in the resources a link. It's also just git-scm.com. I never remember that. I just Google or Bing Git and then click the link. So I'm going to click download. Just the version that it's suggesting for me on my Windows machine. You can see the other options, 62 and 64 bits. But anyway, it looks like it finished. So I'm going to open this up. Alrighty. I'm going to click yes. Do I want to allow it to make changes? And is there a way to make this larger? It does not look like it. So I'll try zooming in post-production to make this a little bit easier for you to see. It's quite small on this large screen. Anyway, I'm going to click next. This is the license. I've read the entire thing. All right, I'll hit next. Then it's asking where I want to install it. I'll leave the default. So C drive, program files, Git. Next up here, I'm just going to leave all of these defaults. So I'm not going to check or uncheck anything. And click next. And then it's saying the name of the shortcut that it creates for me. I'll just call it Git. And that's good to go. Now this is one spot where I recommend actually deviating from the default. So it's asking us to choose the default text editor that Git uses. Now the default that it uses right now is something called Vim. It is kind of a nightmare if you've never used it. The commands and it's all done via text in the terminal. A lot of people use it, but way more people are scared of it and confused by it. So I recommend switching this over to VS Code or Visual Studio Code. So this is a brand new install of Windows on my computer. I don't actually have VS Code yet, so I'm going to click this. Use Visual Studio Code as Git's default editor. And it doesn't let me hit next because I don't have it installed. So I'm going to click that link and just open it up and then download for Windows. We won't need this text editor right away, and you don't have to use this editor either. I have a video where I explain how to get out of Vim and how to use Vim in one context. So if you want to use Vim, you can do that. Or if you have some other editor that you like, feel free to use that instead. So this is a pretty quick install. Just accept the agreement. Location is fine. That's good to go. And then I'm going to leave this checked, add to path. We want that. And I'm going to click this, register code as an editor for supported file types. So that the bottom two checkboxes there. And then I'll click next, install, and hopefully that goes pretty quickly. And then while that finishes up, I guess I do actually have to wait for it to finish in order to go back to the other installer for Git. Okay, so that finished. We could launch it right now, but we really don't need it. All that we need that for is so that we can use VS Code as the default editor. So it doesn't register that we actually have that. I'm going to click back and next again. Okay, now it's working. So we still have Visual Studio Code selected, and now I can click next. And then here, this is a bigger topic actually that we're not going to go into a whole lot right now, but a bigger topic we discussed throughout the course. In late 2020, there's been a push, without going into too much detail, there's been a push to rename the default branch in Git and GitHub from master to main or some other similar name, like trunk or development. We'll talk more about what this means. We haven't talked about branches at all, so that probably makes no sense. I'm actually going to say let Git decide and keep it as the current default branch name. But later on, I will show you how to change the default branch name. We'll talk about how to work with main instead of master, and we'll cover all of this. So to keep things simple and to keep you sort of in sync with the standard documentation and tutorials you'll see in the world right now, we're going to just let Git decide. All right, and then I'll leave this alone as well. Okay, I'm going to click next again. Leave this as use the OpenSSL library. So on this page or this screen, we're going to leave the top option selected. Check out Windows style, commit Unix style line endings. It doesn't matter what that does right now, but we're going to pick that first one. And then we have this screen, which terminal emulator do we want to use? If you want to follow along with me and what I'll be using, throughout the course I'm using a Mac, but on the Windows specific videos, I'll be using this first one, MinTTY. And then we're going to select default, just the default option that's already selected for us. And then, we'll just keep this one selected, Git Credential Manager Core. We'll enable file system caching that's already selected. Okay, we're good to go. And we don't need to enable support for sudo consoles, so we don't need to select that. And then we click install. And we wait for this to finish. And I'll probably fast forward. All right, so it looks like it finished up. Let's launch it. So we'll click launch git bash, and then we can get rid of this. I don't care to see the release notes personally. And then we'll click finish. So you'll probably see, or hopefully see a prompt that looks something like this. Your name will be different. And I just full screened it to make it hopefully legible. And for now, the last thing we'll do just to verify that Git is installed is run the command git -- version. So as long as we see something here, and you should see something here, if you have this, if you're able to see this window after that installation, then I can't think of a situation where Git would not be installed. But just to verify, we can run this git -- version. The Git command is being recognized, and we should be good to go. Now, one thing I'll mention is if you do close out of this, you get rid of this terminal window. If we shut that down, if you want to reopen it and have access to it again, a pretty reasonable request, you can just search for git bash. That's the name of the application we want to run or open. So git bash, and then we get back to this window. Okay? So if you're on a Windows machine, this window is where you will be working when you see me working on my Mac terminal. I'll talk about some of the minor differences in commands, but overall it should be a pretty smooth experience now that we have it installed.